You heard it here first, listeners. We're back. Slight hiatus. Our apologies. But we'll get you up to speed with all the latest and old and upcoming sports news.
All of it.
All of it. Every bit of it. We have quite the agenda planned for you. Thanks to Eric, who put together quite an interesting agenda, I have to say. Eric, any first thoughts?
Well, I think listeners, again, as Cody said, sorry to keep you waiting as long as we did. I know it's been a long summer, and sorry to make it a little bit longer for you, but we're here tonight. I'm here with the Crickets. We got ATP. ATP, that's the Professional Tennis Tour. PGA, NBA, NFL, NCAA football, MLB. We got it all right here. 11:30 Central, 9:30 Pacific. We're ready to roll. Hope you're ready. Cody, let's hit it.
Let's hit it. All right. First topic, we're starting with tennis. We had a big week this week. The City Open.
Well, you had a big week this week.
Oh, I did. It was nice. I don't know if anyone caught it. It's not really primetime TV. However, it was on the Tennis Channel. Nick Kyrgios came out on top. Young star, unlimited potential. Couple things holding him back. Maybe lack of effort, bad attitude, smashing rackets, yelling at umps. The list goes on. But I have hope for Nick Kyrgios that he can overcome these small hurdles in his career and mature out of these phases of his life that really aren't a good look for him. But if you take away the antics, the off-course antics, the on-court antics, the guy's a superstar. He hits shots that, to be quite honest, we haven't seen really before in professional tennis, especially. I mean, he hits tweeners when he's got break point or set point. And, I think the simplest way to put it is he gives no fucks. I mean, I don't know. I think most people would agree that watch him play. And I admire that. I think he plays reckless. I think he plays aggressive. And there's something to be said about that. What are your thoughts on Nick Kyrgios?
Well, let's go through who he beat. For those listeners, as you know from our previous conversations, Cody likes to question the character of my players, so I will do the same, and I will also review each of the individuals that he beat to win this title. Kwiatkowski, Tai-Sung Kwiatkowski, Jill Simone, okay, that's legit win. Nishioka, never heard of him. Gombos, never heard of him. And he beat Tsitsipas. So while he didn't, play a lot of individuals.
And Tsitsipas was the overall 1 seed in the tournament.
I credit Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas is a legit win. And all credit to Kyrgios for getting through this round. So I think, yes, it's impressive just to see him mentally getting past that hump. And I think for me, that's what I would take from it is mentally we've seen Kyrgios struggle to just invest himself in the games or the matches. And I think this is at least a good sign. I think you would agree that there's some progress in that field. Would you agree?
Definitely made progress. I was pleased to see him come out on top this week. It'll be interesting to see if he can take this and move forward. And, he had a couple antics this week. He smashed a couple of rackets, maybe one, maybe two. I'm not sure what it was. But overall, I think he kept his composure, and he's sort of reckless and out of control on the court. However, when the match is over, he's usually a good sport. He's a gracious winner, gracious loser. I thought it was very interesting. I think he's just a very unique individual. And he does things that haven't been seen before on the tennis circuit. For instance, this past week, the last 3 matches, he was serving for match point, and he went to a random person in the crowd and asked them where he should serve it. And each time he won the point. I think there was either one or two aces. I know the last point there was an ace. And, it's very unconventional. So a lot of people don't agree with that. However, it's unique, and it's something people like that. People like to see things that are maybe out of the ordinary. And Nick Kyrgios definitely provides that. And, you never know what you're going to get with Nick Kyrgios. And I think for me, that's exciting. And, watch him, and at any point he can hit a tweener, or he can try and smash the forehand when it's just a mid ball down the middle. That's, a Federer or Nadal is going to hit it cross court to keep the point going. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential there, like I said. And it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Can he carry this momentum through the next couple events? He's playing with Tsitsipas again in doubles, which he did last week. Played in doubles. Unfortunately, got the number 1 seed in doubles in the first round. They lost. But they're playing again, teaming up in Cincinnati, the Western and Southern. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it this year. But they are playing together. We'll see if they can make any noise. But outside of that, Kyrgios, can he keep the focus? Can he keep the intensity? Because if he keeps the intensity and he stays focused, there's not many guys that can beat him. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think focus has always been the question for him, but we'll see. I think it'd be good to see him at his best. At the prime kind of physical shape of his career, but can he get there? I think that's the number one question.
He's only 24. He's only 24 years old. So, if he starts turning around right now and starts changing the way he carries himself and his antics on the court and this and that, I think there's serious potential. No, I'm not talking graceful. No. I'm just saying the guy has a lot of talent to where he can win Grand Slams. He definitely has that skill set, that explosiveness. Anyways, speaking of Grand Slams, let's talk about U.S. Open. I think it's pretty clear who the favorite is. If Novak Djokovic doesn't win, I think it's a surprise. If you're a betting man, woman, I would put at least 90% of your money on Djokovic. I don't see how he doesn't win. I think even if he gets a bad draw and gets Federer or Nadal in the semis, I think he handles both of them pretty easily. I think if you get a Nadal-Federer match in the semis, then I think Federer wins pretty easily. He's sort of dominated Nadal as of late, anything outside of clay. But Djokovic is he's a machine. He wears you down, and it's nearly impossible to beat him, and he's playing as well as anybody in the world right now. So, yeah, I think the favorite is very clear. I think it's Novak Djokovic, and that's really it.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree. I think Djokovic's ground strokes and just the way he moves and his return game, there's no one else on tour that this tournament's going to be as conducive to. And we'll see how Rafa and Fed play going up to the event, but hard to see Djokovic losing. I do like your earlier prediction. A few months back on team, I think we'll see how he's playing, but I'd say those four in my mind would definitely be on the top of the list.
Speaking of team just won last week in Austria, his home country, for the first time. Very cool story. Playing well. I believe it was on clay. He's been known to play well on clay. He beat beat Nadal on clay. No, he beat Djokovic on clay at the French Open this year. So he's excellent on clay. It'll be interesting to see how his game transitions to the hard court U.S. Open this year. But yeah, it's outside Djokovic. I think it's very very open. I think Federer's playing well. Nadal's playing well, obviously. Team's playing well. Kyrgios, Tsitsipas, Zverev. A lot of guys have a chance to make a deep run, but if you get a bad draw and you draw Djokovic in the first 3 or 4 rounds, it's tough luck.
Yeah. No, I think we agree on this topic. So maybe we go to PGA. We got a few things to recap.
British Open recap. Exciting week. As always, British Open, very, very unpredictable. The weather this year was, for the most part, pretty calm. But the last day showed its teeth. And there were a lot of high scores. Any initial thoughts on the British Open?
Yeah, I mean, obviously happy for Lowry. It was good to see. The crowds over there are always just phenomenal, but it was great to see. Some support for Rory, of course. Seems like it might have got to him that first round, at least early on, and then it was pretty special seeing Lowry walk down, the 18th hole. So I thought it was great to see. I thought the course, from what I could see, provided a pretty good challenge. And of course, the players were going low a couple of days where the course was gettable, but I thought it was an enjoyable British Open, always unique. And I thought, for the most part, the cream of the crop was at the top of the leaderboard. So pretty special again seeing Lowry win. Don't know what was up with Tiger. Still scratching my head on his whole preparation up to that. And
what do you
Well, I just, I guess I wasn't shocked by the result, given the fact that he's not playing competitive golf. But, when you're waking up at 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, prepping, just kind of leading me on to believe that you might actually do something. Well, he turns up and lays a freaking turd. So,
well, he's putting on a show, which he's going to do.
Well, put the show on the course, damn it.
Yeah, well, I said before the week, he's not. He was going to miss the cut. I told you that leading into the event.
You did. Should have listened.
Yeah, and when you're that disconnected from professional golf, you don't play a competitive round between the Masters, the PGA, and then you don't play another competitive round between the PGA and the British Open. It's going to show. I mean, you're playing against guys that are doing this for a living. They're playing golf every single day. They're playing competitive. If they're not every week, they're playing every other week or 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it is. They're in tip-top shape, both physically, golf-wise, in the gym, mentally. And you've got Tiger, who has other priorities. And I have nothing against that, but fans expecting him to perform at the highest level week in and week out, it's just unrealistic. There's some events where he has better chances, like the Masters, but like the playoffs coming up, which leads us to our next topic. He's in good position. He's got a chance to make the finals, a very good chance to make the finals. But there's a lot of good players, a lot of young stars playing well. A lot of guys that are veterans playing well, and if he doesn't play well the next 2 weeks, he's not going to make the finals. Just plain and simple. So yeah, if he doesn't contend in the finals or even in the playoffs at all, it wouldn't be surprising. If he does contend, it would be impressive. So we'll put it that way. But yeah, you never know. Tiger's sort of a man of mystery. You don't know what to expect. He's very secret with his personal life, which I would be too if I was him. But yeah, a lot of unknowns right now from the Tiger camp.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of like you said, I think mystery is kind of the word that comes to mind. No one really knows what exactly is going on. But before we get to the playoff thoughts, maybe your thoughts on the crop of the young bloods.
Ooh, yeah. Interesting topic created by Eric. This is category or topic 2B for the night. It's crop of young bloods. This is not typical lingo used by Eric Froschauer, but tonight, maybe a couple 21st Amendments. Shout out 21st Amendment. influencing that diction. Shout out Brian Ham on the word diction. But yeah, the young upcoming stars. It's very exciting for professional golf. You've got Matthew Wolff, Colin Morikawa, and Victor Hovland, just to name a few. Those are the more recent. They haven't played a full season, but they've made their presence known. And Matthew Wolff and Morikawa have been fortunate enough to win already, which is just it's
incredible.
Impressive is an understatement. Victor Hovland has played extremely well, and unfortunately, he didn't get his PGA Tour card in the 7 or 8 starts that he got. But he's going to Web Finals, so he's got to. If he keeps playing well, he'll get his PGA Tour card. He'll start playing in the wraparound season, which is, I believe, begins in October. But no, it's as a golf fan, as a former golfer, I think I speak for everyone. It's exciting to see some young upcoming stars sort of establish themselves at such a young age and get experience so quickly to where they, maybe these are the 3 guys that take over after Tiger and Phil, I guess, are the 2 big names that move on. Yeah, you've got Brooks and DJ, and those guys are going to be there for a while, but I think the generation after them needs to start moving in as well. And I don't think you look any further than Matthew Wolff and Morikawa and even Victor Hovland, assuming he gets his PGA Tour card.
Yeah, and I think the other couple names that I've been kind of paying attention to, right? You've talked about Svensson before. You've talked about Fratelli, right? We've seen a couple of these guys come up in addition to what you mentioned, and it's been really great to kind of watch their progress as well. Joe Quinn Neiman's another one I think of. Extremely young, right? I think is he still in his teens?
No, he's not in his teens. He's early 20s.
Early 20s, but anyways, not too long ago, right? He was super young, already on tour, and yeah, it's going to be pretty cool to see how these guys develop, and I think it'll be neat to see them battling with kind of the Jordan Spieth, the Justin Thomases, the Dustin Johnsons. So I'm really happy to see kind of the young bloods coming up and challenging, some of the older crew. And we get to see Phil and Tiger and Rory and some of those guys battle them, Phil and Tiger toward the end of their careers. So it's a good time, I think, for golf.
Yeah, and my early prediction, based on what the performance up to this point, I think Matthew Wolff undoubtedly is the most exciting player to watch. He's got a very unique swing, hits it crazy far. Sort of reminds me of Steph Curry, does things unorthodox, brings a new aspect to the game people aren't familiar with. And I think you're going to see that is going to be a change in professional golf. People sort of going the unorthodox way, doing things, whatever works for them, hitting it far, just getting the ball in the hole as fast as you can. And that's what Matthew Wolff does. And I think there's something to be said about that. I think Victor Hovland has a chance to be very consistent. He reminds me more of a Steve Stricker, a Jim Furyk, Mr. Make the cut, make a bunch of money, but never be dominant, where I think Matthew Wolff is more capable of dominating, like a Brooks Koepka or a Dustin Johnson or a Rory. I don't know why. That's just my gut feeling. We'll see if that ends up being true or not. But I think that's enough on golf for now. Well, actually, no. I take that back. I think we've got the Northern Trust this week, 125 guys, first event of the playoffs. We've got a one-and-done pool to make a pick. We've already made our decision on who we're picking. We're going with Tommy Fleetwood. I think it's a pretty solid pick. He's in great form. It's a good course for him. It's narrow. Good for Europeans.
My only reservation to butt in here is that Fowler has had great form here his past four appearances. He did miss the cut one time, but 2 top 10s and 1 top 30.
4 appearances where?
He's played 4 times in the Northern Trust, evidently.
Yeah, but the last time they played the Northern Trust at Liberty National was 2013. So,
But hey, this particular event, he's played well.
yeah, well, it's a different course. So I hate to embarrass you
He just likes the Northern Trust.
on live coverage, but
he loves the Northern Trust though.
he does, and I'm sure he'll play well this week. I hope he does. I'm a big fan of Ricky Fowler's, but I think we're going to have to go with Fleetwood. He's in great form. He finished 3rd at the British Open, 4th at WGC. It's hard to argue that. 2 world-class events, best players in the world playing, and his worst finish was 4th. So I don't think you try and overcomplicate things. I think you go with a guy that's hot, a guy that's solid. He's could go under the radar a little bit. I think Tommy Fleetwood's our guy.
By the way, fun fact for all the listeners who, this might pique your interest about the Liberty National Golf Course: $250 million to build.
Yes, used to be a landfill.
Holy cow! I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit ridiculous. I still think they're in the hole. I don't think they've quite hit the $250 million point in revenue. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I don't know who. I can't remember the guy's name that started it or what he did to put up that type of money. But yeah, it used to be a landfill. Now it's a world-renowned golf course. Hosted the 2017 President's Cup, 2009 and 2013 Northern Trust, and now the 2019 Northern Trust. Yeah, should be a fun week. But yeah, I think unless Fleetwood is not in a featured group, I think Fleetwood's our guy.
All right, let's do it. Sold.
All right.
On to the next topic. I'll open this one up, and
oh boy.
Let me just preface this, listeners, by saying that the man on the other end of the line here has been a big critic of LeBron, and some of his recent displays of emotion have been questionable, have been a little over the top, have been, scrutinized a lot by the media, by fans, players. But Cody, I think you had a small change of heart, last week. So why don't you just, let the listeners in on how that, that change of heart took place for you over the past couple of weeks?
No, I definitely. I've actually always been a fan and a supporter of LeBron. I think he has done a very impressive job of giving back to the community, especially in the Akron area where he is from. I think he's made a big impact on a lot of people's lives. I think he's been very selfless with his money. However, the past couple weeks, or I guess last week, when he was at his oldest son's basketball games and his son had a couple dunks and alley-oops, I think he got a little carried away with his reactions, storming onto the court, doing his celebrations on the court with the guys when the game's going on.
In the layup lines.
Yeah, doing dumb. I mean, I think he crossed the line a little bit. However, a lot of people thought the same thing and were tweeting about it. And coincidentally, a lot of NBA players were responding to those pedestrians, if you will, that were tweeting about how LeBron's an idiot. He's seeking more attention than he already gets, blah, blah, blah. And the NBA guys, his colleagues, if you will, were very supportive of LeBron, saying, LeBron never had a dad that was supportive of him. And that's what LeBron is being to Bronny Jr. And all I have to say is hats off to LeBron for being there for Bronny, for learning from what he didn't have and showing Bronny what it means to have a dad who cares, who loves him. Even though he's crossing the line, I think I might have to let this one slide and say, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing. keep loving your son, even if it means you're seeking more attention. I have to give my hats off to LeBron for being there for his son when he doesn't have to be.
Man, you heard it here first. Cody Martin. That's the bottom line, folks.
That was deep right there.
That was deep. That was. Whew.
I mean, that was serious business.
That was serious. I've never heard you pour out your heart for LeBron like that. So I'd like to record. Make sure record this. Save it for later.
It is #StreamYard.
Yes, and I think a shout out to StreamYard for this fantastic,
platform.
They are kind of our sponsor for the show. So Google Hangouts, screw you, go to hell. But anyways, on to my thoughts about LeBron. I do think, as all the listeners know, I'm as big a fan out there as there is of LeBron. But I do think there is a point where you do cross the line a little bit. I think he did, cross. He was a little obnoxious. I think we can all agree on that. And I think that's where this gets lost in the conversation. Just because, someone had the childhood that LeBron did, it doesn't necessarily mean that when you do cross the line, you always get, the free pass. And I think there has to be a balance in the conversation of, okay, we can all agree that what he's doing for his son is obviously respectable and it's deserving of some praise, but at the same time, some of it was a little much, and even I can say that. But anyways, I digress. I think you guys understand our feelings on LeBron. Any other thoughts, Jody, on the NBA recently? There hasn't been much to talk about.
No NBA is still a few months away.
Yeah.
No need to waste your time on the NBA.
No, so let's go to the NFL, and I've been thinking a lot about your comments earlier this week about fantasy, and listeners, I'm sorry that my counterpart on this station has these thoughts, but
I think you're on board,
Cody. I just want to turn it over to you to. I don't represent this opinion. I don't share this viewpoint. And I just want to give you the opportunity and the platform to share your thoughts and justify with the viewers why fantasy football is trash according to you. So
I
take it away.
The honor. It's quite the honor to have such a large platform to express my opinion. I'm hoping I can impact a lot of people by expressing my opinions on why fantasy football is not only trash, but it's a waste of your time. It's a poor investment.
If you just interrupt, if you have any comments that you want to leave on YouTube, you can log on to StreamYard. We have a comment box there for you to leave your comments. And I don't want to
hashtag YHIHF #StreamYard.
Yeah, we don't want
whatever you want. We'll find you.
We don't want to keep you guys from participating in this. So please, be an active participant in the show. Anyways, Cody, back to you.
Yeah, no, I think my opinion is somewhat valid. I've participated in many fantasy leagues in the past, and I think people waste time doing research on fantasy. I think that's the first topic is. People spend hours, days researching who they should select for their first pick. And if you think about it, Eric, I'm asking you as I'm speaking to think about this. So you have let's say you are randomly selected to have the third overall pick. So you go to the draft board and you sort of evaluate, okay, who do I want to have? I've got the third pick. We're in an 8-person league. So I've got the third pick. I've got the 14th pick. Okay, who am I going to pick third? Because then there's a lot of guys that are going to be gone by the time my next pick comes around. Okay, so let's just say hypothetically you pick, I don't know, Antonio Brown for the third pick. He could get hurt the first game, and you have no control over that. I think the injury part of fantasy football is what really deters me because you spend hours of research on an individual. It's not a team. It's an individual. If it was more team-based, you look at the Patriots or you look at the Packers or whatever team, the Bronco, it doesn't matter what team it is. If there's one injury on a random player, it doesn't have the impact as a star player on your fantasy team. It's an individual. He's contributing points to your team, and he's done. I mean, he could be out for the whole season with one route that he runs. And I don't know. I've got beef with that concept. It's also just weird. Like, you're investing in these guys that you don't know. You become obsessed. You emotionally invest in these people. Eric, you know all about investing emotionally into players. I mean, you've got lists for you guys, and you live and die by them. And that's what people in fantasy do. And you know what? I'm not a fan. So what have I done? I've abstained from fantasy football for 2 consecutive years.
Wow, what a man!
It'll be my 3rd season in a row, no fantasy football. And to be honest, I can't wait. Because thank you very much. All of my friends that have fantasy leagues, I can just talk shit to them about players that got hurt and say, you know what? That's what you get. You randomly pick the guy. You don't know anything about him. He could get hurt at any moment. And you put in $100, $200 to win whatever, $1,000. So yeah, those are just a couple of my thoughts on fantasy football. I don't want to get to balcony seats. Great show, guys. Thanks, balcony seats. Shout out balcony seats.
Oh, fantastic.
For recognizing what a great show we're putting on. Appreciate that. But yeah, fantasy football. If I was you, get out while you can. Run. I don't know if you've ever seen Shutter Island. When Leo gets to the island and the girl writes a note, run. That should be you. Run.
Well, the good news, Crazy, no one knows how that ends. So, and we talked about that this week. And, if you're going to use Shutter Island to justify that, I think you need to also understand that you're not sure how the movie ends. And fantasy football is something great. It's something that allows a lot of people to, be a part of something for the entire fall they look forward to. It allows me to lose money every fall and to have a good, healthy discussion with my wife about where $200 is going. Occasionally, it also yields a nice golf event for me to go to kick off the season, and usually a night of several IPAs as well. Otherwise, yes, I do spend probably an inordinate amount of time doing a bunch of bullshit research and things that really in the end probably comes down to a lot of luck, but it does allow for some great banter. And it also, I watch games that I never would have. So kind of like Streak for the Cash in that sense, but on a different level.
To what I'm saying, I don't know what I'm saying, but I do know that the NFL is trash compared to college football. And without fantasy football, NFL would be in the dumpster. It would be suffocating. So thank you, fantasy football, for keeping NFL afloat for the meantime. But when fantasy football sort of runs its path, sort of burns out, NFL, best of luck to you. College football, on the other hand, the GOAT. Nothing more exciting than the first week of college football. It's approaching us. I think we're on the 30-day mark, maybe less than that. I think we're less than that.
I think less, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. In college football, it speaks for itself. People watch college football with no interest, nothing invested, rather than besides emotions. NFL, you've got to have money, a player, whatever, what have you, to watch a game. Where college football, it's incredible. You've got passionate fans, passionate players playing simply, as cliche as this is, for the love of the game. And there's nothing better than to watch guys putting their heart on the field just because they want to win the game. And so college football around the season. Can't wait. Early prediction: Clemson, Dabo Sweeney. They run the table. I don't know if they're going to lose this year. I think the over/under on them is 11.5 for regular season wins. That's a pretty high number there. If you lose a game, you're done. So,
yeah, that's those are pretty high odds, and I think I'm hopeful for another Notre Dame run, but they seem to disappoint me every single year. And
yeah, well, when you cheer for Brian Kelly, you don't have much good coming for you. Sorry about that.
well, what I'll do is watch Rudy again on a periodic, basis as I normally do. Rudy and Hoosiers. It looks like Notre Dame were about 30-1. Notice how I used we. I have two we teams, Notre Dame and Indiana. Whoa. So sorry, I have some background music there, folks.
Wow, bumping over there.
Yeah. Anyways, I was trying to get some live odds there on the season. But yeah, I think it's exciting. I'm looking forward anxiously to the first morning, that first Saturday where I wake up and sit in bed and go outside to a nice fall day or hot summer day. Kids wake me up at 7 a.m. and I'm not able to watch a single game that entire Saturday. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully I'm able to watch a few, but it will be a glorious day, as we put it. So can't wait, and just looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely can't get here soon enough. And for those of you listeners, I know there's a lot of you out there. We are going to go on another hiatus. Everything you've heard up to this point is preparation for the launch of our sort of weekly podcast that will be updated weekly on Apple Podcasts. You heard it here first. It will be, you heard it here first. YHIHF will be the name. And we'll launch our first podcast either the Monday leading up to college football or the Monday following the first week. I'm leaning towards the week prior just to get some predictions from the big games, a lot of key matchups the first week. And as crazy as this sounds, some playoff implication games the first week.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's bold prediction, but some key matchups where, these big games, the loser is already on the outside looking in after week one. So a tough spot to be in. Big games. Really, really cannot wait.
No, it's going to be awesome. I think I just looked at the odds. It looks like, Bama's at 9-4, Clemson's 9-4, Georgia 6-1, followed by Michigan 12-1. I think for me, what the hell's going on? Anyways, I think Michigan for me, this is the make or break year for Harbaugh.
No, fade Michigan. Harbaugh sucks.
No, well, I'm not saying don't fade him. I'm just saying this is
fade
it.
him.
This is it. I'm not saying. Listen to me. I'm not saying they're gonna win. I'm just saying if I'm a Michigan fan, you've seen the best you're gonna get.
Well, if you're not saying don't fade him, then fade him.
It's put up or shut up.
No, just fade Michigan.
Yep, fade them.
It's go to the bank. Take everything you have. Fade Michigan. They aren't winning. It's just plain and simple.
Yeah, and one early prediction for all the IU fans out there: we will beat Ohio State this year. The game is at Indiana. We were close 2 years ago. College game day should have been there. It's going to happen. You heard it here first. Ohio State loses to IU at The Rock. The Rock, defend The Rock. And we're going to take them down.
You heard it here first. I think it's simply put. However, I have to disagree. IU is a very tough place to play. That's been that way for the past few years. We'll be probably tied at halftime, which is pretty normal, probably 14-14. And Ohio State will probably end up winning something like 42-21, something along those lines. That's my early prediction. Not a you heard it here first, but very confident in that prediction, nonetheless.
Yeah. And I think also Yeah, I don't know. What I'm trying to say, I think some of these locker rooms, just as a sidebar, the LSU locker room. Have you seen
I
that by
mean,
chance?
it's unreal.
Is that necessary?
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's like
I'm not sure I would use half of it.
no, you wouldn't. I mean, I would almost I'd fade LSU because they're going to go in at halftime and half the team's going to fall asleep in their recliners. I mean, yeah, it's a bit over the top. I mean, I get what they're doing. They have funds to spend, and they're trying to bring in the best talent every year. But I hate to say it, but Alabama, Clemson, they're way ahead of you. Um, Alabama's got a gourmet chef cooking them meals every day. Clemson's got a slide from the second floor to the first floor. I mean, what 18-year-old doesn't want to slide to go down from the second floor to the first floor? I mean, I'm sold at that. So, but yeah, it's crazy. But I don't even think it's worth going to the next topic. MLB. So what? Reds
Yeah,
are
fade it.
Reds are flirting.
Fade
That's
it.
not it. But it'll end up being them, asking the girl out and then her saying no, and they get denied probably by 2 games. Tough year, but progress being made. Dick Williams doing a good job bringing in new talent, growing the team. However, the fight was quite the scene. Hats off to, can't remember the pitcher's name that went 1 versus 10. Just freaking swinging for the.
Yeah, I mean, impressive left hook. No.
No, 100%. He was, like I said, swinging for the fences. Might not have fully connected, but man, he was. He had some cojones going in there, and got to give it to him.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was like Kentucky Seminoles esque, versus the Vipers. It could have gone down like that a few times, and we never let it get there, but it could have been bad.
Yeah, no, it definitely could have been. And before we sign off, I think before the next podcast, I think we got to consider bringing on maybe a special guest.
I totally agree.
I think it'd be nice leading into the college football season having
An expert.
guest speaker, maybe making some picks, sort of like College Game Day does.
I like that.
Bring some new blood, some fresh young blood onto the pod. Speaking in Eric's lingo, to spice up a bit.
Yeah, and I think, listeners, if you have feedback, comments, first of all, those on the East Coast, appreciate you staying up till 1 a.m. That's a late night.
The hat's off to you.
That's tough, but you're going to feel great tomorrow. You're going to be informed. You're going to be able to talk to your coworkers, and you're up to speed on the latest and greatest. And I think that tonight was great. We covered a lot of things, went into a lot of depth. Cody, any thoughts on Holy Moly? It's kind of been off the radar. Are you even watching anymore, or is it?
I wish you wouldn't have brought that up. It's a bit of a sensitive subject.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
I was fully committed to trying out for season 2, but I have to be honest. I'm not sure season 2 is going to happen. I'm really not.
Well, we could have seen that coming.
Yeah, well, I was optimistic, and that's who I am, and I've had a couple friends reach out to me saying, this is the worst show I've ever seen. However, you'd be a great fit. I don't know if it's a compliment or a put down. I haven't quite deciphered that yet.
Yeah.
But I might text Steph this weekend and see what his plans are for season 2. See if I can't get an audition in the next 6 months or so.
No, I think that'd be fantastic. Definitely worth your while. So
yeah,
fantastic show, and I can't believe it didn't make it.
Hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
That's right. I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
Yep, you could be wrong. Could be wrong. Anyways, you heard it here first, listeners. We appreciate you. Great evening, great discussion. Couple disagreements, but that's okay. That's the beauty of this podcast. And like Eric said, any feedback, feel free to drop us a line at I don't know where you drop the line, but maybe at StreamYard and find our YHIHF link. That's
Yeah,
probably
we take we take mail.
yeah.
Oftentimes in the mornings I'll go through just the fan mail that we're getting for our podcast, and
Yeah. We even accept Venmo and PayPal, believe it or not.
yes, that's all the sponsorship we can get.
Yep.
It takes a lot to run this show.
Does.
Thanks to people like StreamYard, we've been able to enhance it, and we've been able to afford it. So budget is getting tight. So anything you can offer and donate would be obviously appreciated.
Yeah, well, for this week's episode, that's about it. Signing off, Cody, Eric, sign off.
For you guys.